to the Beard Speaks podcast. Hey, all right, guys, what is going on? Welcome to the first episode of the Beard Speaks podcast here in 2026. All right, guys. Hey, Happy New Year, and thank you guys for joining us. All right, I got a killer show for you guys today. That is right. So a couple of days ago or so, I posted a blog up on the website. What's the website, you ask? Oh, thanks. It's www.thebeardspeakspodcast.com. That's right. You can go there and check out some of our blogs. But I did put up a blog that talked a little bit about building your own guitar versus spending thousands of dollars on a big name brand guitar, right? So, which we're all guilty of doing those things as guitar players, right? So, you're a guitar player out there, this episode is for you. I got a good friend of mine, Jason, from Creativity Talkin. He's the co-host of that show, and he will be on joining me shortly while we have this discussion. It was went a little bit longer than we thought it would, but you put a couple of guitar guys together talking about guitars. It could be 2-3 hours long. So this is going to be great. Anyway, I do want to say Happy New Year to everyone. And wow, man, I'm blown away again, of the love and support from everyone for the show. You know, this is, we're going into our 5th year here at the Beard Speaks podcast. Can't believe it. The analytics are showing some amazing growth. You guys keep coming back. You keep sharing the show, tuning in, and you're digging the content. So thank you guys very much. What I'm asking you guys to do is, please, if you're on social media, which I know, half the time we try to get away from social media, but interact with us, right? We're on TikTok. Check out the Beard Speaks on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, and more importantly, on YouTube also. So go check out our YouTube videos, and, we got some products that we do some reviews on, just some stuff that everyday use, and then guys, for your beards, we got some beard oil reviews and different things like that. So if you dig that kind of stuff, go check out the YouTube page and the TikTok page also. So I do want to do a quick shout out to everyone that has been checking out the show. And usually I try to go through this list, but man, it's too big now, right? For over 560 cities around the world in total listening to the Beard Speaks podcast, and we're in every country. So shout out to all of you. Thank you guys so much, man, for just being loyal listeners and checking out the show. It means a lot to me. So anyway, guys, thank you very much. Without further ado, here's my chit chat with Jason from Creativity Talkin. Hey, Jason, welcome to the show. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, Pat, how you doing? Thanks for having me, man.
I'm excited. It's been quite a while since you've been on the show. So, first off, how you been?
I've been great. Doing real good. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Doing the thing. Yeah. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah. Hopefully it's going to be a good one, right?
It's all we can hope for. It's been 2025 is behind us, and we're back in the new year. Although it's just a calendar. I just always laugh. I'm like, hey, it's a new year. Yeah, it's just another day, whatever. But Happy New Year to everyone out there. And so good to have you back on the show. And I wanted to pick your brain, and we'll sit here and just kind of chit chat about guitars and building guitars. And I know you've been building a bunch and working on a lot of different things. And I put out a blog a couple days ago about building a guitar versus going out and spending the thousands and thousands of dollars on, premium guitars or, whatnot nowadays. Like we were just saying, guitar prices are insane. So let's just start there, man. Like what, you were saying earlier, like, what is it with these guitar prices, man? That they're insane right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, any, guys like us that are a little bit older, we don't want to say we're too old, but,
Right.
I mean, we remember, I know you do, like I do. I mean, when we started playing as kids, and everything was relative price wise. I mean, back then, $700, $800, $1,000, that was an expensive guitar back in the day, and that coupled with the fact that the cheap ones that we could afford back then were pretty much unplayable.
Oh my God. I mean, it's like,
I don't know if you remember your first couple, but I know mine were like just awful. I had I think my first one was it was a Japanese, just an unbranded Les Paul copy.
Okay. Yeah.
And, it was, how they were, those 70s, they weren't great, that was awful.
Yeah.
And then of course, that coupled with, in those days, I mean, most of us didn't have the knowledge on how to do a proper setup. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't understand all that stuff. I personally, I grew up in a real rural town in upstate New York. And I mean, just trying to get somewhere to, get a guitar to somebody, to a tech. I mean, you had to travel like, hour and a half, something like that.
Oh, wow.
It
Yeah.
wasn't really feasible when you're a 16-year-old kid, whatever. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the prices nowadays, I mean, we just see them going out of sight,
It's crazy. My first guitar was a Yamaha. I don't even know. I think I begged my dad to buy this thing. It probably cost us $100 or something like that back then.
Right.
And I mean, like I said, it was they were unplayable. The build was as cheap as possible just to get stuff out the door. For cheaper models and for kids, whatever, to buy a guitar. But I know Sears had guitars. Remember that? Although their amps, I was seeing, oh my God, dude, like the silver tone. Oh my God. People it's like insane. People want these things now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're going, like, there's even a big market, it seems now, for, a lot of the, those, like, 60s and 70s, like the silver tone stuff. And, even the what's the Montgomery Ward back in the day, they handled a couple of little brands, and a lot of those little what do you even call them? Words are escaping me right now, but those type of guitars, like the catalog guitar. There's a whole market for that now, even,
That's
people that just collect
crazy.
those, so.
And that's driving the price up, obviously, right? So someone's junk is someone else's treasure, as they say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I remember the first guitar I ever had. Like I said, it was a Yamaha, and that thing was just, and then the first good guitar I bought, even back then, it was a little out of reach, but I remember saving my money, and I went to this little store called Making Music, and it was literally across the street from Guitar Center, and they're still in business today. They're down in the city, but I remember going in there, and I saw this pearl white Sandemus Charvel that I couldn't afford, right, as a kid. But I remember the sales guy, which is funny because we're friends today. But he said to me, he's like, "Hey man, if you bring me $20 a week, I'll put that thing behind the counter and you can come in here every week and play it." And I did.
Nice.
Yeah. I would go back. I was working at a grocery store pushing carts, right? I would get my paycheck on Friday. I'd go in there, give him the $20, play my guitar, and he saved it for us. I guess that was my first layaway.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what a great guitar too, man. Those old Sandemuses. I mean, that was
Yeah, I still have that guitar. I still have it.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's been through its paces. I mean, it's been repainted, and I put a new neck on. And actually, I'm going to get another neck for it because, like an idiot, back then I didn't know what I had, right? And there was a moment in time I worked for Grover Jackson over at Washburn when they were here in Chicago. Nice. Yeah. And I worked on the line. I was, just a dude setting up and doing all the wiring on the guitars and stuff. And I got really good at it. So I got to work in the custom shop. And Grover kind of pulled me over to the custom shop, and I started doing guitars for Nuno Betancourt, Melissa Etheridge, stuff stuff like that. Dimebag. I did the original Dimebag Seagram 7 guitars. I wired all those up. Yeah.
That is awesome.
At 24 years old, and probably back then I didn't even really realize what I was doing, you know. We built a custom shop guitar for Joe Perry, an Aerosmith, nice. And we hand delivered it to him. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a great gig. Unfortunately, the factory moved from Chicago to Texas, and at 23, 24, I didn't want to up and move, which I probably should have. But then again, you know, who knows? But that was really cool. And I had my Charvel, and I gave it to one of my buddies that was working in the paint department. And I'm like, hey, man, I want to repaint my guitar. And back then, remember Queensryche had the Tri-Riches on the guitar?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted my band logo, which was similar, on my guitar. It got completely screwed up. So finally, he's like, hey, man, I'll strip it down and I'll repaint it. But he got a job at G&L in California, so he took the body with him. And I didn't see this guitar for like 3 or 4 years. And then he finally came back to Chicago, and he brings me my body, and he painted it like a really cool. Well, it was G&L purple, like a sparkling purple. Yeah. And so he gave that back to me. I'm like, great. So now I don't know what the hell I did with the neck. It's been years, right? So I bought a new Floyd for it, and I got all new parts, and then I finally handed it over to a buddy of mine who was a luthier, who I met working in a guitar store years earlier, and I gave it to him to set up and fix for me and get it all together. And just to skip ahead in the story, man, I didn't see that guitar for close to 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he had gone through some divorce, something, and he disappeared. And I didn't see the guy for years. And it all comes full circle when I was playing guitar in this worship team at this church after my cancer treatment and stuff. And I was chit-chatting with the bass player, and he said to me one day, he goes, hey, my brother knows someone that you know. I'm like, really? And he happened to be really good friends with the guy who sold me the Charvel at Making Music. And he was a bass player in a local band here in Chicago. And I was like, oh, wow. So I reconnected with that guy the very same weekend. My buddy emailed me on Facebook because he found me on Facebook, and he was down in Southern Illinois. And he's like, hey, man, I got your purple piece of shit over here. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh. I'm like, dude, you still have my guitar? He's like, yeah, man. He goes, I never get rid of it. So it was weird how, like, the moons aligned, right? Yeah. I talked to both people in the same weekend, and I got my guitar. I ended up getting the guitar back. Yeah. Although I want to put a new neck on it because it's like just a stock Wormuth, like Jackson neck, and it just doesn't fit the guitar right. I really want I've been playing lately a lot of Fender and Gibson, which I never really did in the past. I mean, especially, for the music I play mainly, I play Ibanez and Charvels and stuff, but I've got a San Dimas. I mean, I've got two USA Strats, which, believe it or not, they're 2020 models made in Corona, California, right? And I love the neck on them. So I'm trying to get a neck built just like that feel and radius and everything to put on that Charvel body, because I think that'll be great. And then I did find that Floyd Rose does sell the very original Floyd Rose that went on that guitar. So I'm excited. I'm going to pick one of those up.
Yeah. Bring it back to its former glory.
Yeah.
Speaking of G&L, I just recently heard that G&L went out of business. Did you hear that?
Oh my, no, dude, I didn't hear that. Really?
Yes. Yeah. It's really, really kind of sad. You know what I mean?
Huh. Yeah.
Just this year, probably a month or so ago, I started hearing things about that. It started out as a rumor, but then I think it's then it got confirmed. But it's end of an era. Of course, Leo after Fender, you know what I mean?
Right.
Ended up starting that, but it's a shame.
It is.
They were great guitars. They had some great guitars.
They had some great. I mean, and that's like, again, like I was trying to say in the blog post I put up, and basically our conversation today. It's like I'm not saying don't go out and buy. I mean, I've got some Gibsons, and I've got USA made Fenders and things like that, but. Thinking back at guys like Van Halen and Lynch and stuff like that, these guys didn't, like I mentioned, they didn't change the world with a $3,000 guitar.
Yeah.
They changed the world by picking up old Charvel, seconds from Wayne Charvel, right? And slapping shit together.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at Eddie, right? I mean, they just, a lot of those guys, or was it, I think it was Eddie, right? Or was it George? They were going to Charvel, and I mean, they were getting like stuff out of the dumpster.
A lot of those guys were, but
got chucked out,
Yeah, a lot of those guys were. And I mean, George's Tiger guitar, that thing was like a second, that body. His buddy painted it. So that's why it looks so freaking cool now when it's all like the paint's cracking and everything like that. And there's just so much, natural wear on that guitar. But it was just a piece of, garbage that was getting tossed. He got it painted, threw in some pickups. He's had, from what I understand, different necks on the guitar over the years. Eventually started to put an ESP neck on it, and and so on and so forth. But the point is, he didn't run out and buy, an off the shelf guitar, and then and Eddie Van Halen, same thing. His was the same.
Yeah, those guys were broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were starting out. They didn't have endorsements. I mean, they just they had to put together what they could get. And I mean, that's still doable. It's actually more doable than ever now. I mean, there's a lot of great, as you well know, I mean, a lot of great companies that, I mean, you can get great necks now for, and there's a bunch of different companies, I mean, Mighty Might's making necks again, all that stuff. And I mean, a lot of these necks are fantastic,
They are. I actually have a couple.
Some trash out there too. You gotta find, but I mean, I'm like you too. I've had, over the years, I'm trying to settle down too. I had a bad gear habit for many decades.
Yeah.
It's just like amount of money I spent, and a lot of the stuff I don't even have anymore because I'm a horse trader too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to wheel and deal and all that stuff. But yeah, I've had like a lot of great Gibsons and stuff, and I've loved them. And and I've had have had and still do. I mean, like higher end, expensive Gibsons and things like that I've loved. But just the same, I've had some like cheap, cheaper, $200, $300, $400 guitars that have been fantastic.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was kind of my thing for a while. Like, I had all these nice guitars, but my little, quirky thing was when I was out and about, I was always looking for like, for the cheapos that were just fantastic. I mean, you know them when you play them,
You do.
You're like, you're just amazed. You're like, you pick up this thing and it's like, you can't put it down and you're like, man, this thing's like $400, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it kills, it just feels great, and then you take it home and you set it up a little bit. It might, sometimes the fretwork isn't great. You got fret sprout, stuff like that. But once you know how to set a guitar up right, and level frets and, and a few things, I mean, if you got one that's like almost there, I mean, you can make it amazing.
You can. Yeah. I mean, if you find, I mean, I got and you made a good point too. Like I have some really nice Gibsons and things like that too, but sometimes I'm afraid to bring these things out to a club and play. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. And you just, people get drunk. It is what it is. Right. And you don't know what's going to happen. So I picked up a, $200 like Les Paul copy, right? Harley Benton guitars. I've been seeing them everywhere. They're made in Germany. or they're a German company. I think they're made in Indonesia, whatever it is. But I found a used one at Guitar Center. I picked up for $200, and it's like a slash copy, right? And honestly, it's got these Tesla pickups in there that are, they don't sound great. But you know what, man? You throw in, like, depending on what you want to play. So if I'm going to play, blues with it, I do play some blues and stuff like that too. But if I want to do that, I would throw in some nice Seymour Duncans or something like that in there. Or if you're going to play metal with it, just throw in some EMGs. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter what the guitar. You can throw EMGs in a 2x4. It sounds phenomenal because it's the pickup, right?
Yeah. Well, and let's face it. I mean, if you're playing metal or even just harder rock and stuff, and I mean, by the time all the gain and the effects and everything you're running through.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as your pickups are outputs there and everything. I mean, and they, you got a certain amount of tone control, but a lot of times, I mean, I don't know about you, but like in bands, when I've played metal and stuff, a lot of times I've just got everything wide open anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not fooling with the tone knobs and all that. It's just like, crank the amp and,
that's pretty much it.
Run it through your pedals and all that stuff. And so you can get away with a lot more if you're playing that kind of music too. You don't really necessarily need you're not looking for like the classic tone necessarily.
No, right, exactly. I mean, there are, like I really love that 38 Special. I mean, like that, country rock tone. Yeah. I really love that, for certain music, right? And I've got a couple guitars that really sound great. I mean, one of the deals I got one day, my wife and I were in Waterloo, Iowa, and small guitar shop. And she passed me on the shoulder. She goes, "Hey, is that the right price?" And it was a Les Paul. And I'm like, $800. I'm like, no way. I'm like, it was used, obviously, but great guitar. And I start playing it. And I'm playing it through just some clean amp or whatever. And sales guys hear me playing and they're like, oh, so they're bringing me pedals and they're setting me up. And then they start bringing me $5,000 Gibsons. I'm like, okay, whatever. I played them. And then I just kept going back to this $800 Les Paul. Yeah. And it was a, what the hell was it?
Probably a studio, right?
No, it wasn't a studio. It was a tribute. So it was a Les Paul just without the binding, just like they discontinued it, a couple years ago, whatever it is, but the tone on this, it was literally like you could just take me and put me in 38 Special, and there's the tone, there's that classic rock tone, and I was like, and I just kept smiling playing this guitar, as you said earlier. That's when you got the guitar right. So then I thought, this is a fake. So I'm sending pictures to some of my buddies who are like Gibson aficionados, and they're like, oh my God, they're like, dude, get the guitar. And I ended up getting it for $700. So how do you go wrong there, So, and this guitar it's amazing, I mean, it just plays great, and it didn't need anything. Just clean up the, use guitars, clean the pots up a little bit, get that crackling, dust out of there. But, so you can find these deals out there, and I'm always looking, I'm always looking because there's always there's always something out there. You never know.
Absolutely.
But you've built more and put more guitars together than I have. I have a couple, as you mentioned earlier, like Mighty Might. So I used to work after I worked for Washburn, I did work for Cork Guitar / Mighty Might, they were here. Yeah, they were here in Chicago. So I would get seconds from them, and I built a couple of Strats. And nothing to sneeze at. I've got one of my Strats. I got 3 single coils. I grabbed some really nice noiseless Fender pickups, put those in there. Yeah. And the guitar is just a great little, it's
a player.
Yeah, it's a player. Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't, I could take it out, whatever. I barely paid anything for this thing. And then I built another one. It's a black one. Remember when Kirk Hammett years ago had that black guitar with the pearl white pickguard?
Pickguard,
yeah.
And
so
I think didn't he have like black pickup covers on a single coil?
He did. So I built the same guitar, but I'm not with a Floyd Rose, no Floyd Rose. I just put a standard bridge on it. But the same thing, I put EMGs in it. So it's got that humbucker 2 single coil configuration with my EMGs. And it looks like same guitar, but what's beautiful about it is I've got an ebony fretboard with a bird's eye maple neck. Oh, beautiful guitar. I put Spurzl tuners on it, and I played in a band called Selfless like a year or two ago, and we were playing stuff like Godsmack, Disturbed, and everything was tuned down. Well, little secret, because I hate tuning my guitars down to C, right? Yeah. So I don't like that. I just don't like that. The feel of the strings. It's just not tight enough for me, right? So I discovered using the Digitech drop pedal, and anyone out there that's hasn't used it needs to do. I'm telling you, I've had no issues. So the other guitar player in my band at the time played in drop C, and I took my guitars, put them in drop D, and the Digitech drop pedal I brought me down to drop C. So I'm playing, and there was no latency. There's no issues.
I was gonna ask you that.
Nothing. Dude, I played live with it. And so I'll tell you one thing. If you're sitting there in your room or on the couch and you're playing and you're not up loud enough, it's a mind fuck, because you hear the guitar in standard tuning and it's coming out. So it's a little weird. But when you're cranked and you're on stage or at rehearsal, you can't tell. But the strings feel fantastic, because I love that tight, feel of the strings. So I used that guitar. Again, it's just a parts guitar that I slapped together with EMGs in it, and with my Digitech drop pedal, and I was playing all this drop C stuff, and it sounded fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, like for you, what's your go-to when you're building? When you're building guitar, what kind of part? Who do you really go out for parts?
I'm kind of all over the place. I've been, just trying different things. Here lately, you talking about like pickups and things like that?
Well, just like when you start with like, hey, I'm going to build. I saw you build some Tallys and things like I'm going to build this. You just pick up. Like what's your go-to? You go to Warmoth and pick up a nice body and start from there.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been building my own bodies too.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Warmoth makes great stuff.
Yeah.
Again, they're not cheap though,
Right. It's quality. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, anybody that doesn't know, I mean, if you, they've got great things, and I mean, they'll even build a guitar for you. I had another thing I kicked myself about. I traded a guy. I had an Ibanez, and I saw a guy on Marketplace here in South Carolina. He was down in Columbia, and he was looking to trade this Warmoth Telly that he had built, and I should have kept the thing, man. I traded it. I can't remember which one I traded it for. Like I said, I had bad gear habit, but the thing had a beautiful bird's eye neck, ebony board, like you said, stainless steel frets, and had Duncan pickups in it. It had, I think it was like an ST1, or was it well, I probably shouldn't say now. It's been many guitars ago. I'll probably say wrong. But yeah, I had Duncans in it. They sounded great, but I'll tell you, that thing had and if you're not familiar, I want to actually incorporate that in my next build here. It had are you familiar with like the freeway switches?
Yes.
They make like a 6-way telly switch.
Yeah.
This was the damnedest guitar ever. I mean, like when I went down, I met him at a gas station, and I took a little portable amp with me just to test it. And this thing, it was a crazy wiring setup, but I mean, this thing for a telly, I mean, it got as fat as a Les Paul right, and then as thin as what you want, like for chicken picking and stuff.
Sure,
it was amazing, So yeah, really, really, really cool to have that capability out of one guitar. I mean, just the tone range was unreal in this thing. I mean, you could have used the guitar for anything.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Metal. It was awesome. But yeah. But lately I've been, pretty much the reason I've been doing strats and tellies is, like when I decided, it's been like probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I've been, when I first had the idea that I wanted to start building, and sort of like it's taken me a while because, the cost of entry to start building is kind of, it's kind of up there because, not only do you need like the woodworking tools, all your routers and saws, table saws, band saws, all that stuff, sanders, everything. And then you have all the luthier specific stuff you have to get as well. So it's a process, you know what I mean? Unless you've got a ton of money to just jump right in.
Sure.
You're kind of like, like I said, I'm just a garage builder,
Yeah. But that's how they all start.
So it's taken a while. Yeah, absolutely. And finally, saved up and got a planer and, and little this and that. I still have a couple of things I need to get. And then, I went like hunting for templates, and so just doing strats and telly shapes, it seemed like a good place to start.
Sure.
Because as these days to try to come up with a unique, body shape and that's just not god ugly,
right,
or god awful. I mean, just it's kind of tough. It takes time to to do that. So I've just been doing it. It's pretty much what a lot of people do, start out with those classic shapes. And I've just been sourcing wood, which has gotten expensive as well, like everything has the last few years.
Yeah.
Just like buying body blanks and stuff, especially like I've done a few like black lombas and, just mahoganies and stuff like that. Mahogany's not as bad, but you start getting into really exotic woods. I mean, it's easy to have $1,000 and just,
right,
wood and stuff, parts and stuff, so depending what you want to do. I mean, there's still cheaper alternatives, but and then I've just been using the templates and and cutting my bodies and necks and routing the pickup cavities and control cavities and all that stuff, and really trying to do it just from scratch. Yeah. And, the downside to it is when you're trying to learn. And I mean, unless you know somebody or, you can sort of apprentice under somebody. I mean, it's pretty much trial and error. I'm watching every video that I can find or, books or just any kind of info. And there's a learning curve, and nothing hurts worse than when you've got an expensive piece of, exotic wood and all of a sudden your router slips. You know what I mean? You cut the neck pocket and whoops, and it's like, it's an expensive piece of firewood now. So there's a certain amount of that happens that always discourages you for sure.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother. So I guess we could look at it. This is 3 layers, right? There's buying the right out of the box expensive guitar, and then there's going to Mighty Might or Wormouth and just grabbing some parts and putting things together. Yeah. You can build a really nice guitar for just around $1,000 or less, right? Or going from scratch, but that's a whole artwork, man. That's something different. Yeah. I would never, I couldn't do that. I don't have that talent, right? So it's something different. That's just a whole, that's a whole artwork.
Well, but I mean, to me, it's all cool. I love doing partscasters too.
Sure.
I mean, it's fun, I mean, a lot of times I pick up some cheap guitars. I got a strap body. I have these bodies and necks laying around in here, and I've put together just some, it's fun. You can just, bolt a neck onto a body and then okay, what pickups do I want?
Right.
The sky's the limit. You can do the electronics any way you want and get the tone, go for the tone that you want. And
yeah, really, just by picking the type of wood, for the body, and really try to, match a good pickup to them. And then there's so many, pickup companies out there today that have fantastic pickups, right? That are doing them hand wired by hand. There's custom ones out there. Yeah. You could do the Eddie Van Halen thing and just start messing around and wiring up your own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely, I got some, I've done some partscaster deals too they're just I loved, man. They just turned out to be great sounding guitars. Yeah, I've got. I actually just took I had a Mexican telly that I had laying around. It was just a typical butterscotch,
Sure.
and good guitar, but I was like, So I just stripped it. I stripped the body. I just restained it. I'm not a great lover of poly. I like oil finishes personally. So I stripped all the poly off, heat gun and a scraper.
Okay.
If anybody's wanting to strip one down, I mean, the easiest way to do a factory poly strip is just basically a heat gun and a scraper. I've found,
Yeah.
You start messing with strippers and chemicals and stuff, and it gets messy and squishy.
Yeah.
It really doesn't even work that good. So, but yeah, I've done that, and I restained it. It came out great, and I got a set of bare knuckle pickups that are fantastic. Threw it in there, and and you can, depending on what you tone, you can change your capacitors and stuff like that. And,
Right.
Sky's the limit, man. You take, like I said, you take an inexpensive guitar and you can make it kill.
Yeah. No, exactly.
A fret level. Make sure your nuts right. A lot of people, tuning stability is a big thing.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, for years I've had, a bunch of Gibsons over the years, and I had Les Pauls when I was younger, and I was like, everybody always said, "Oh man, Les Pauls don't stay in tune," and I experienced that when I was young.
Yeah.
And everybody, the thinking was it was the string pull, right? Because the
right.
on the headstock. But you know what? As I got older and figured it out, I mean, a lot of times it's all nut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nut cut properly. I've had Les Pauls that they were just rock solid.
Yeah.
Once you get the nut cut right and everything's
that's 100%, man. I had a couple like that, where it's like, man, the infamous G string that just doesn't want to stay in tune, but once you know how to set up a guitar, I think that should be like minimum something I think any amateur should just learn, right? I mean, we've learned from trial and error. It's like, don't be afraid, take your strings off, nowadays you got YouTube, but back in the day we didn't have any of that, right? We just kind of went trial and error to, trying to mess around with the guitar and whatnot. And you never know, right? I mean, it's like you find something. I picked up so I was down in Knoxville, and I always find a deal. I'm always looking around or whatever. And I don't know if you saw, I posted that picture of that Gibson V that I was playing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I ended up snagging that thing for nothing.
Oh, nice. So
there was a couple of things, like I could park my truck under the strings and the fretboard. I'm like, this thing, it was unplayable. But it's a 2007. Les Paul, Gibson V, and it's real and everything like that, and but then again, it's like you start looking at it, the electronics were jacked. I couldn't even play it. It sounded good when I was able to like hold the cable in, and then just like so I could tell the pickups were good, but there was a little bit of a crack. Like a stress crack in like in back of the headstock, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. And they wanted $1,500 for this thing. I'm like, they're crazy. So I went to go talk to someone, and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, what's up with this guitar? What can you guys do? I know I worked at Guitar Center in my 20s. I'm like, what's the deal? What can you guys do for me? And just like you, as I've been getting older, I really love the sound of a guitar is just natural without that, without that paint on there, just having it stained. I don't know what it is. I love it. And this had another one of those just warm sounding guitars. So they went down to like $1,200, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, can you hold it for me? I got to talk to some people back home in Chicago, and it's like, I got to I don't know. I got to drive this thing into the cold weather. I'm like, do you guys have a luthier here? You know, a guy that can set up and kind of fix this for it. So I was basically just buying my time to not pay for this thing. And the guy's like, yeah, man. He goes, we'll hold it for nothing. Don't worry about it. I'll put your name on it, and then we'll have the guy call you tomorrow and tell you what it'll cost to fix it or whatever. So I didn't wait for the guy to call me. I just went back to the store the very next day when they first opened. And I got the daytime manager. So I'm like, hey, man, yeah, I'm here to, grab my guitar. And because I did make some calls and whatnot. And my buddy that he's a luthier. He's down in southern Illinois. He works on all my guitars. I sent him pictures and everything. And he goes, dude, that's a $2,500 guitar. He's like, $1,200 is a steal. And I'm like, okay, maybe, And then, because then I thought, yeah, I'll flip it. You know what I mean? I'll get it fixed, get it playing, and then I'll flip the thing. But you know what happens when we talk like that? We play them and go, oh, I can't get rid of this. You fall in love. Yeah. So the guy goes back, he grabs the guitar, and he comes back, and I'm like, yeah, man, I was going to talk to your tech. I'm like, I don't know. There's this crack back here. And so the guy's like, he goes, yeah, man. Yeah, he goes, I wouldn't sell this to you like this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, like the electronics. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to see when I open this thing up. And I'm like, look at this, the strings are, I could park my truck under there, And so he's like, man, he goes, this thing, it's a $800 guitar. So I hem and hawed. I'm staring at it. I'm looking at him. And I'm like, can I return it back in Chicago if I open this thing up and I find problems or there's an issue that I just don't want to, He goes, oh, yeah, man, no problem. Walked out of there, $800. I brought the guitar home. I opened it up. All original Gibson parts.
Fantastic.
I just messed around a little bit in there, cleaned the dust off, made sure all the soldering connections were good. I fixed that problem. Cleaned it up, put new strings on it, set it up. The guitar plays amazing.
Killer, right?
I'm like, oh my God. Now, as for that little stress crack in the neck, it's not bad. But from what I was told from my guy, he's like, hey man, I'll just put some epoxy in there. We'll fix it. It's not really even a big deal. But as of right now, it's holding up. I got the strings on there. I've been playing it. The tone is amazing. It sounds great. So yeah, it's like you never know what you're going to find out there.
Oh no, that's the joy, man. That's like the treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love when you find those unexpected deals,
Yep. And then sometimes, like you said, people don't even know how to set these things up. But for me, it's like shame on you, Guitar Center, for putting a guitar out on like that, unplayable.
Well, I found that here, even with my local Guitar Center. They'll just put them up on the wall and there's,
Yeah.
I've picked them up and there's been broken, tuners, and I'm like, really? You guys can't, it's like,
yeah.
You want full price for something that needs, at least $200 or $300 worth of work done to it.
Yeah. And I told the guy, I said, this guitar, if you picked it up off the shelf and played like it plays right now, $1,500 all day long. All day long. It's a $2,500 guitar. It's barely got any like nicks in it or anything. It's got a little, it's a 2007. Don't get me wrong, but it's been loved, but it looks so good, and that's the reason why I took a chance on it. But again, who's going to pick it up off the shelf, play it, and barely can play it, right? Like you said, you find stuff broken or whatever. How do you expect to sell anything?
I know. Yeah. But I'll tell you, a lot of times too, like guitars that have some age on them too. They just kind of wear in like an old shoe. Sometimes.
Yes,
and they get better.
Yeah, that's one of the things about guitars that I really now, like, looking at the used market, I'm more prone to saying, I'd rather go out there and look. But you got to watch it too with all these fake, chipsins or whatever you want to call it.
And the fakes are really good too.
They
you don't
are
know, like really like minute details on like, the Gibson logo, there's little things that,
Sure.
The experts know, but like the average person, I mean, you could get taken all day long nowadays. There's some great forgeries out there.
Yeah, I keep seeing them. I belong to a forum on Facebook because I've been kind of digging into the used market a lot more lately and just looking and seeing what's out there. I joined one of those chips and groups on Facebook to see what am I looking for, and which is cool because I was talking to the guy in Tennessee at the Guitar Center. He's like, yeah, we do too. He's like, so we can see what's out there. And then what if somebody brings a guitar into us and they try to sell it, that type of thing. I mean, there's, now that I've really, but they're getting good even with the fret nubs.
Oh yeah.
Some of these people are like in China are going way out of the way to make them very, 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 close to a real one. And you can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, you really got to be up on the the minute details so you don't get taken. That's for sure.
Yeah,
but it's like I said, the beauty of them too, like you started to say earlier, for guys that don't know a lot about setting things up and that. You see people like some of the not to bash that big box store that we were talking about.
Right.
What the prices I'm seeing that they're charging for setups makes me gasp. What?
I know.
What? I've even thought about just starting to do some of those. I'm like, God, I'd do half price and still make money all day long.
Right.
Like people coming in paying $20-$30 to have strings changed. I'm like,
come on, man. You should know how to do that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And, even adjusting necks. I mean, go on Amazon, get a straight edge and get your Allen wrench out. Don't be afraid to, quarter turn, let it sit, and look at it. And I mean, it's not rocket science. Once you know a little bit of something. I mean, guys can do their own setups and, and really take a guitar that, that you maybe thought sucked when you played it in the store, and you can, you go home and you get the thing where it's awesome. And you love it, so a lot of times it's just basic stuff. So adjusting your neck, and a lot of people don't know about fret leveling, and there's a little bit of, I mean, you can even get sanding, the sanding beams and stuff, on Amazon pretty cheap, you know what I mean? And,
right.
I know it's a little intimidating, you start sanding metal away and then you've got to recrown and all that stuff, but I mean, it's, it can all, you mess up, it can all be fixed. You can pull a fret and replace it.
Right.
If
Exactly.
too far, stuff like that. So, I mean, some basic tools, there's some specific tools, but you can still find, I mean, if you go to StewMac and stuff, they make great stuff, but
they do
a little pricier, but you can find, well, I'll tell you, the funny thing is that some of the more critical tools I'll buy, I'll spend the money and get the good tools.
Yes.
But some things like fret nippers and stuff. I mean, you can go on like Temu or whatever. And I mean, sometimes, you just buy them and they work.
Yeah.
A beveler for, fret beveler and stuff like that. It's just, you can get away with the cheaper stuff for some of those things.
Yeah.
And they work just fine,
And it's just common tools you should have in your toolbox for just being a guitar player, right? And just learning these things so you can save some money, but also, like you said, mess around. You find a guitar, you get a good deal on it. It's messed up. Someone else didn't take care of it like they should have, and you can pick it up for more than half the cost, and then just work on it yourself. Put a little elbow grease into it, and and that's it. And it's so much fun to mod them too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love working on them. I mean, just putting one on the bench and throw some tunes on, and I mean, just and really, let's face it. I mean, you should and depending on where you are in the country too, with humidity and all that. I mean,
Right.
move around, next move, and a lot of guys don't know. I mean, wintertime, especially if you got the heat on in the house and stuff, you want to run a humidifier. You want to keep your humidity in your guitar room about 50%.
Yep.
Give or take, and stuff like that. Prevents fret sprout. Because then you're doing fret ends and all that stuff. And
yeah.
that stuff can be prevented with just, keeping your stuff humidified, especially with acoustics. I mean, you end up with top cracks and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. That's the worst. Yeah. I mean that, and I leave a lot of my guitars, not all of them, but I have them out, because I'm always playing, so I can always pick up a guitar no matter what room I'm in. Sure. I can grab one and just start fiddling around or whatever. But I've got a few of them out, and I always, especially in the winter, But I try to keep the heat. Thank God, we can kind of maintain keeping the house, our heat around 66 degrees, 67 degrees, and it stays pretty warm in here, but I'm running a humidifier all day 24/7 in the house, so it stays, because it gets dry regardless, and I mean, you don't want, that's a lot of work on when you start getting multiple guitars. It's like, oh my God, dude, I don't want to work on all these, change the strings, but I try to, like, once a month, get them all, put them all out and clean them, make sure everything's good and play them all. Like, again, every one of them has its own voice, and that's kind of comes back to around what you're looking for. If you're going to buy a guitar, or I always say, if you're going to buy one, like you said, if you don't put it down, if you're in a store and you're playing a guitar, and it when you can't put that thing down. And that's happened to me several times. And actually, every guitar I have is a guitar I could not put down. And that's when it's a good buy.
And they're all different too. I mean, it's like, I think I got my first Les Paul when I was probably 18 years old. And, I had it, and it, that was the first one. Like I said, I never could get it to stay in tune. I got frustrated with the thing. I traded it off for Strat or something like that. And I've spent decades, like, I would play Les Pauls all the time, and this one's, it's okay. I didn't love it. I think probably 3 years ago, Guitar Center, oddly enough. I mean, that's I went in there, and they had it was a Honeyburst Standard, and I was friends with the manager there at the time, and he was like, they kind of knew me in there because I had a habit,
right? Habit of going in. Yep.
So he's like, he said, did you play that Les Paul? I said, no. I didn't. I said, I saw it, and he's like, you got one? I said, nah, not currently. I said, I want one, I want another one, but I said, I just haven't found the right one. And, he said that one, we had it sold online, and then the guy canceled and this and that, he's like, check it out. And, I wish I didn't. Well, you know how that goes. I plugged it in and I played it, and I just I said, man, I don't need to spend this money today, but I can't leave this thing here. I mean, it was that was the Les Paul I've been looking for like the last 30 years, And
there you go. I mean, and I've played some $5,000 Les Pauls, and I'm like, I can't play this. It just, I don't get the feel, it's just not there for me.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just the one for me. You know what I mean? It sounded great. It felt great. And, I mean, there's tons. You go in there. I mean, they're beautiful. You look at it's awesome. And then you play it, and you're like, I'm not here. I'm not hearing and feeling $2,500.
Right. Right.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And
I think with Gibson, it's that I'm disappointed in, like we were saying earlier, the prices of these guitars, because they come out with these. This is what aggravates me. I mean, because do they make a nice guitar? Yes. Okay. You can find some really good ones. I mean, even the newer stuff. I mean, I'm not going to dog on them. I know they've had years of issues with, that, hey, don't buy this decade of, Gibsons because, they had quality issues, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
And that's true. That's the thing. This one I'm talking about, by the way, was a 95.
Oh, okay.
They call known as the Goodwood era.
The Goodwood era, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So there's always, an issue about Gibsons when you're looking out there for what year you're buying them and whatnot. But, you made a comment earlier. It's like, yes, they all sound different. It's wood at the end of the day, right? It's a piece of wood, and it's all going to react differently. So you can build two identical Les Pauls at Gibson and they will have different feel. They will sound different. I honestly don't believe they all sound the same.
No, they're all different, I think, I mean, maybe some people, and again, too, it depends, all guys are different. People's ears are different.
Sure. Right.
Like, I mean, some guys can hear things other guys can't.
Right.
Cool. I'm not knocking the guys that can't, but like when you get dialed in, over the years, like as, anybody like, that's been playing for a long time. I mean, you start to, you can pick out the good ones from the bad.
You can. Yeah. Yeah. You hear different things, and it's true. Yeah. That's why music is subjective, right? I mean, you can, there's people that will listen to a certain tone and go, dude, that's awesome. And someone else will say, that's a shitty tone. Ugh. Right. and I've been guilty. Yeah. I've been guilty of that. Like where I'll go out and see a live band and I'll say, oh, geez, dude, don't you know how bad that tone is? But to them, it's probably the greatest freaking thing, right?
Yeah, they were working hard to try to get that sound,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a whole nother subject, is tone chasing, right? Because that's a rabbit hole. But yeah, man, I think that Gibson's got some great stuff out there, and if you can go out there and find something, used off the shelf, I found some, pretty good that I could not, stop playing. I've got 3 Les Pauls, and I've got the Flying V. So those are the Gibsons I own, and all 3 of them are different. All 3 of them are different. But what's really, really funny is, again, like going back to that little guitar shop in Waterloo, Iowa, that $700 tribute Les Paul played, sounded better than any $5,000 Les Paul they handed me. And they just kept coming with guitars, because like, oh shit, this guy can play, and let's give him, but it's like, hey dude, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can put anything in someone's hands that costs, whatever. Like have you even played a Greenie, like copy yet?
I have not. No,
me either.
Like they were what? The price tag on those when they did the limited run there of was it like they were going for like
20 grand? Was it 20 grand? I'll have to let me look it up real quick. But yeah, I'll Google it.
Maybe it wasn't that much. I don't know. I'm getting old. My brain isn't.
I know, right? That's why we got Google.
Price, I think, weren't they?
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't. They were very expensive, I thought, though. But
they were really high in price. I mean, let's see. I want to say they were like 20 grand. For a
20. That's.
I think the price tag you're thinking of is when they did the first run, and if you bought the $50,000 package or something, you got to meet Kirk Hammett, and you remember that? Yeah. I mean, I'm in marketing, and I think that's fantastic. Their marketing is insane. Yeah. But these prices, I mean, so I'm going to go to Gibson's site right now and see what they've got. Let's just look at today prices, right? So right now, 19,999, 20 grand. So that's an Earl Scheib right there, 19,999. So
right. What is?
So if you want a Greenie Kirk Hammett, copy, that's what you're going to pay, $20,000. Or you can buy the Kirk Hammett Greenie Les Paul Standard for $29,999. So that one doesn't have all the, it's a brand new one. It doesn't have all the aging and everything like that. The Murphy's Lab.
Murphy Lab stuff.
Yeah. Or you can get a Kirk Hammett Epiphone Standard Greenie for $14,999. Yeah. So here's a funny thing too. Like we're talking about Gibsons and these, guitars made over there. I don't know why I didn't know this, but Epiphones are made in China. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are Gibsons. So it's like, okay. Yeah. I mean, and you're still paying $14.99. So I guess at the end of the day, if you're buying an Epiphone for $14.99, or you go on Temu and pay $2.99 for a
hot rod it yourself.
Hot rod it yourself, which I see a lot. The only thing I don't agree with is getting the Gibson name on it, because
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, that's a little. I mean, put something else up there. If you like the headstock, I get it. I think people are a little too snobby when it comes to guitar too. You know, it's like, I got to be on stage and it's got to say Gibson, you know, or whatever it is. I'm like, hey man, you know, I don't think so. You know, I think the guitar sounds great or whatever. Like I said, I've got guitars that I've built myself that have zero name on them, and I've played those live, and you know, it's a tool, right? At the end of the day, not a case queen as they as they call them. But yeah, but $20,000. I've never played one. I've seen one in person when I was in Nashville, and I stopped at the Gibson Garage. Have you been there?
I have not, but I'm dying to. I do want to do a Nashville run one of these days, because, of course, I want to go to like Carter Vintage,
sure,
and Rumble Seat, and just go and drool. You know.
Yeah. I've done it. We go down to Tennessee a lot, but I stopped into the first time I was in the Gibson Garage. What's it? God, I forget his name now, but he always does all the videos and everything for them.
Mark Agnesi?
Yes, he was there.
Yeah.
It was funny because I was sitting there taking a video, and I turned a corner and boom, he's standing right there, and I just put the phone. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, how cool! I'm like, you know, from Chicago, blah blah blah. And he actually chatted with him a little bit. I would love to go in that back room, you know, where they have all those vintage, you know. But again, you know, I think as much as they've got some cool stuff, I think the pricing is just freaking outrageous, man. I really, who's got $20,000? Like you said earlier, how many doctors and lawyers out there, you know, that. Yeah.
And I mean, God bless them if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against the guys that got the dough, and that's great.
Sure.
You know, I mean, the truck drivers and the mechanics and stuff that, you know, they want to get, you know, I mean, who can do it? You know, got kids to feed, you got bills to pay. You can't take that kind of dough out of the family budget to, you know, for a guitar.
No, you'll be divorced right quick.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's true, because we all, you know, as guitar players and musicians, we have, you know, like I like to say, you know, the wives have shoe problems and we have guitar problems. You know, I just keep looking at guitars and.
You know, for a lot of years, like I was saying, I had that was my thing. You know, it was like, I love the search, and I love the, you know, the buying, you know what I mean? And like different times, like I have different periods, you know, where I'd be, you know, I'd have 30, 40 guitars at one time. And then as I'm getting older, I'm looking, I go, why do I do this?
Yeah.
It's like, you can only play one at a time. And then it's like, you know, there's two like mentalities. I mean, if you know, there's like the collector thing,
right? There's a collector part of it, right?
Yeah, and you know, but then I got looking, and I was like, man, I got some great guitars here, but you know, I'm working all the time, and I mean, these things are sitting here.
Yeah,
and I really, sadly, I don't have enough time to play as much as I'd like to.
Yep.
And I got looking at it, and I said, you know, really, all you need is just one good one. You know, you can do just as much with one great, you know, properly set up, inexpensive guitar as you can with all these, you know.
Yeah, and that's part of
stuff.
Yeah, and that's part of the conversation of building one of your own, you know, or a partscaster or whatnot. I mean, to be honest, it's like, if you really want that, you know, oomph of a Gibson, and you like the Strat, you know, pick up a mahogany body, you know, get yourself a nice neck, you know, with an ebony fretboard, and then start playing with pickups. You know, really, you will get a beautiful tone out of that. You know, I mean, that's really all you need. And I know Lynch, you know, being a huge fan of his, I know a lot of his signature guitars, that's how they're built. You know, they're mahogany bodies with, ebony fretboard. and they're just the best of both worlds, almost, so to speak.
Yeah. And, again, wood is subjective too. I mean, an ebony board might not be for everybody because it's going to have a different
True.
tone,
Very true.
It's a very hard wood, So, you got guys they might want, well, I mean, it's getting harder and harder to get Brazilian rosewood.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
So they've got Pau Ferro and all these other like variants that are similar. But, I personally, again, that's the different tool for the different thing too. If you're going to, depending on what kind of music you're playing, you're going to want like or if you want a brighter sound, you're going to want a maple board.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's totally, right on, spot on. I've got guitars with the variations, right? And one of my favorites to play metal with is, my Jackson Soloist, neck through body, mahogany with a quilted maple top, and it's got a ebony fretboard. But again, I didn't put EMGs in that guitar. I did leave the Seymour Duncans. Actually, the stock Seymour Duncans sounded really, really good. So I didn't change them or anything like that. And it's just a standard humbucker configuration. But again, I was playing drop D, and then using my pedal to go to drop C with that guitar. But the sound is great. On my recordings, I use that guitar a lot now that it's back in standard tuning. And I also, my old Ibanez, I actually saw one. I've got the, people used to always ask me about my Ibanez because I've been playing it for decades. I bought it when I was 24 years old. I was working in this little...
Is it an RG or what?
Yes, the RG 550.
Yeah.
Yep, Japanese.
Guitar, yeah.
Beautiful guitar. It's black on black with the white stripe, pinstripe around the pickguard. And I put EMGs in it. It's the only thing I did different to that guitar. And off I went in my 20s playing everywhere with this guitar. If this guitar could talk, right? And people used to ask me, like, what's with that black guitar? What's with that black guitar? I'm like, out of all the guitars I have, if someone put a gun to my head and said, you're going on stage with Queensryche right now, grab a guitar, that's the guitar I grab. Because like you said, it's so worn in. It's got a maple neck, maple fretboard, everything. The action on the guitar is so... it's got that wizard neck.
Wizard neck, yeah.
But the guitar, but the guitar is so broken in that it, weird to say, I know it knows me, right? It's so comfortable in my hand. I would not be, I'll pick up, I don't know, this is weird. It's just a me thing, but every guitar I pick up, I change my style or my playing is a little different. I don't know. It might be just me. I'll play if I pick up a Les Paul, I tend to play a little differently, or I pick up my Fenders. I tend to play a little differently, but I pick up these guitars. It's more shredder. That's kind of where I go to. But this guitar. So the funny story about this one. I was working in a little place called Guitar Plus. Not even there anymore. I mean, the owner disappeared one night. That's another story for another time. This guy was, we showed up for work and everything was gone in the store. Right. And I worked there with Dave Shankle from Manowar. He was teaching guitar there. And my buddy Todd, who's the luthier that I've met and I've been friends with all these years, that works on my guitars. He worked there too. He was like the guitar setup guy and the manager and everything. But one day we showed up to work. The owner was gone, nowhere to be found, and cleared the inventory. Oh, dude, we had some beautiful ESPs. We were the only ESP dealer in Chicago at the time. I was like 24 years old. Yeah, it was years ago. But anyway, long story short, this guy comes in with this guitar and he's on crack or something. He's like, hey man, what can I get for this guitar? And I'm standing there. There's me and the owner. And I'm like, I don't know, man. He opens the case. It's brand new. Still has the sticker on the pick guard and everything. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
I'm looking at the neck and I'm like, I don't know, man. I can give you $50. Okay, bro, I'll take it. Dude, I give him $50. I look at my boss. I'm like, here's $50, man. And that has been my main guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, ever since. I've recorded. It's on everything I've ever recorded. When I was touring out in California with Miss Crazy, I brought that guitar came out with me. It's just, and it's the one guitar I have sitting out and, displayed in my living room. I play it all the time, it's, but it's got character. It's been loved. The fretboard and everything, it's my DNA's all over that guitar,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get mojo after you beat them up a little bit too.
That's it. Yeah. And I think, like you said, in time, over time, it's why these guitars become, so sought after because of the sound, the wood ages and whatnot. But again, going back to like a Gibson, why am I going to pay $20,000 for a greenie copy? It's going to sound nothing like the real one.
No.
Have you ever read the story on how many times that thing has been broken in pieces?
Oh yeah. And then there's that guitar. There's such a legendary guitar too. Of course, Gary Moore, Peter Green. Yep. And there's everybody's always trying to speculate, like somebody about that. Is it the neck pickup or the bridge pickup that's the magic? It's like
it's the neck pickup the neck pickup was put in backwards.
Oh, okay.
Or upside down, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it was put in upside down, and yeah. So it makes this out of phase sound or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah. Now, like you said, like $20,000 for that, and you might spend $500 on something else, and you'll love it more.
100%, man. I've played.
I still, after all the with all the Gibsons and Jacksons and different things I've had over the years, the one that's still kicking around with me is a Korean-made cheap Ibanez RX 240.
Wow!
I still have had all these years. I threw a set of Duncans in it, Duncan JBs.
Yeah.
And classic. That's a classic setup.
Sure.
What I mean? But this guitar's it's got that neck that I just love the profile of the neck. I just love the way the guitar plays and feels, and it's not worth anything.
No, but it doesn't matter.
It's just great.
Yeah. There's tons of those out there.
Yeah.
Look at Firefly, I think, is making some really decent guitars now, and there's a lot of cheaper, whatever you want to call it, quote unquote, let's just say budget guitars out there that are in a reasonable price range that you could buy, just sometimes maybe right out of the box sound fantastic, and I think that I see enough videos on YouTube, and I follow some people out there that do budget guitar videos and things like that, and there's one guy, I don't know if you watch him, Max. He has a channel that he does all budget guitars, and once in a while he'll have an expensive guitar in there, but he does all budget guitars. And one day he got pissed off because people were like, "Oh, that's probably just press wood," and he took a cheap ass guitar and cut it in half with his saw, and it was a solid piece of wood.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's there at the end of the day. The wood is, it's just wood, and it's just all about the feel of the guitar,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's, I've always said too, here, like these young guys coming up too, they don't know how good they have it. Cause like we said earlier at the beginning of this conversation, like when we started, like the entry level guitars they really were awful, but a kid can go to like a store and get, something made overseas, you take your pick, whether it's a Squire or, whatever. And there a lot of people don't realize they're mostly all made in the same factories.
Yes. There's only, I think two or three. Yeah. There's Court and Samick. I know the big two that build guitars for everyone. All the overseas guitars are built in either one of those two factories. Yep. because I worked for one of them years ago, so I know.
Right. But the quality control's gotten a lot better over the years. I mean, even like I said, $200, $300, $400 guitar. I mean, the electronics aren't bad sounding. I've played some that, I mean, the pickup sounded great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you really can if you're just starting out, you can get just a great playing and sounding guitar for not very much money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really all you need.
It really is. Yeah. Don't stop having headstock envy. I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Like, oh my God, my brain. I can picture him now. It's great player. Played with Allman Brothers, and he's a Nashville guy. Jack, is it Pearson?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, amazing player. I hope I have his name right. I'm picturing the guy in my mind. But he would always just be on stage with a Squire. He would have a Squire Strat and just be killing it, Yeah. He didn't care. This guy, I mean, he could have played anything, but he would go out with $200-$300 guitars and he would just slay,
Yeah, I heard someone did that in New York. I don't know if it was Basamasa or it was somebody. I off the top of my head, I can't remember. But he walked into a local guitar store, picked up a Squire, and did a whole fucking gig with it.
Yeah.
Stock right off the shelf. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was somebody big, that was just like a guitar guy. And yeah, I mean, so it really does go to show you that, it's all in the eye of the beholder, like anything, right? At the end of the day, unless you are just collecting and being, case queens, at the end of the day, it is really a tool, to get the job done and get out there and play, right? And they're going to get banged up and they're going to get loved and used, but that's the whole key of, having a good guitar. I mean, have I cried a couple times when my Ibanez the strap broke and it dropped and a paint chip came. Yeah, but I look back at it now and that's my guitar. I know it from anywhere. I know all the little chips and cracks and, and everything in it. And I know it's my guitar. And what's funny is when I was down in Tennessee, I did see because they reissued those RG 550s. I always wanted a white one. So I kind of have like the negative. I have the black with the white stripe. I wanted the white with the black stripe. I found one when I was in LA many years ago. It was 2006 or somewhere around there. I never pulled the trigger on it. I should have bought it, but I didn't. But they reissued them, but they don't come in white. But I saw one. I saw one at Guitar Center. A new one for in black, exactly like mine. It was just funny. I took a picture, sent it to my brother. I'm like, "Hey, look, they got the Catalano model."
That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I wish I could do what you do. I would love to have the time, first of all, and the ambition, because I used to watch those guys in the custom shop when I worked at Washburn, just kind of just magically make this stuff out of a piece of wood. And I love watching them on YouTube, and just kind of looking at those factory tours and watching these guys, kind of building. That's a special talent you have, man. And it's, like I said, that's cool. It's cool to be able to just kind of say, hey man, I'm going to, out of a blank, and just say, I'm going to build this. But again,
it is kind of fun. I just started doing it just because I wanted to see if I could. And
right.
Like I said, the first couple of days, they weren't pretty.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I kind of like that though too. Like I'm also like with myself. Well, of course, Vince, our common friend.
Yeah.
He named my guitars. They're knuckle dragger guitars.
Yeah, knuckle dragger. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And there's a story there. A friend of ours that passed away too young. We were all in college together. He used to call me knuckle dragger all the time.
Oh, okay.
I had bigger hands and arms and stuff.
Yeah.
And, he's told me I was a caveman all the time. You know what I mean? And, So it just kind of stuck. And after he passed, I was doing this, and Vince said, you know what? He said, you ought to call it Knuckle Dragger, and George's honor,
Yeah.
And Vince made me the logo and everything.
That's awesome.
So I've got my my decals made up and all the headstock decals. And I've been here lately. I found a guy. I've been doing the logo on the neck plates, laser engraving the neck plates and stuff.
So are you building, like, if someone wants one? If someone wants one and wants a custom build, are you kind of doing that at all, or?
I've sold a couple. I mean, I could do that. Here, to be honest, I'm not independently wealthy, so
right.
My turnaround time is probably, if I was able to do it full time, would be great.
I would.
But,
that'd be great.
I'm trying to, sleep in 3 hours a day before I go back. I've got a handful here. I'm looking at them right now. As a matter of fact, as we're speaking, that I need to get after and get them finished up. But
there you go.
But yeah, it's a hobby right now. But I'm hoping that
hey, you never know.
Get it to the point where So.
Yeah, you never know. Wish we could always do our passion as a living, but
absolutely
doesn't always work that way. Although I do love marketing, and I find that doing that as a actual job or a living, it bleeds into everything I do with the podcast. Marketing with that, and
right.
creating all my ads and stuff like that, and then same thing with music. It's like I had to laugh because it's like it takes you however long it takes to write and record, produce, and get everything done, and now the marketing kicks in, and that takes just as long, getting all the ads together, photos, and trying to put everything together and then start shooting things out there. And I don't have anyone doing it for me; I do it myself. So it's like every moment that's quiet and you're kind of downtime, you're like, okay, start pushing all this stuff out. So, but hey, one day we'll win the lottery.
That's it. Well, with me too, with these, there's a lot. As probably from poking around on YouTube and everything, there's some really, really great builders out there.
Yeah.
Amazing, like works of art,
Yeah.
And, of course, I always kind of aspired to that. But, I've kind of here lately, I'm like, you know what? Knuckle dragger. I'm like, I'm working in my garage. It's kind of no frills. We got basic tools. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't be so hung up on everything being perfect. Maybe my niche is, it's it might not be as pretty as the next one, but as long as it's got some mojo and it plays and sounds great. If it's maybe I didn't sand that edge perfectly there. If to the trained eye, maybe that's a little off compared to that side. But to me, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, let's just give it its own personality, really.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I guess at the end of this thing, let's. I guess hard to say one or the other, but I personally, if you're out there and you're, looking for a guitar, a workhorse, a tool, I would say, look in the used market, see what you find, but putting something together yourself, you get lucky to spend, about $1,000 or a little under $1,000, maybe, put together something nice, get a real Floyd. If you're looking for, Floyd and that kind of thing, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but I don't know. I mean, I think, there's nothing wrong with either one, but, it's a good debate. It's a good conversation.
It is. And you know what? I mean, like I said, to each his own, but somebody that's never done it before, they might find that they really enjoy.
Yeah. That's another thing too.
It's like a little bit of a journey, you learn a few things, and it's not, anybody can do it. I mean, the information's out there nowadays. So just do your homework and don't be afraid to adjust the truss rod. You're not going to, you know what I mean? It's,
you're not going to break anything.
You can't break it.
Yeah.
But, but it's nothing to be afraid of, and just do it,
Sure.
And like you said too, I mean, you can either, there's plenty of aftermarket companies selling unfinished, bodies.
Yeah.
And next you can go that route. You can go to the guitar store and buy a cheap Squire, just get the bones and just, and then just, do the hardware and electronics you want. There's so many angles to take at it. You know what I mean? But either way, you can come out with a great guitar.
That's it. So awesome. But will you hang on? Don't go nowhere. Everybody else, we will be right back. All right, so there you have it, guys. What a killer conversation. I mean, he and I could have went on for hours about guitars and that whole topic there. So, but if you guys are digging that kind of, content, go check out Creativity Talkin. I'm going to put their link right here in the show notes, and you can go check out Jason and Vince over there. And I do pop up once in a while there, so go check that out. All right, guys, remember, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and wherever you stream your podcast, man. We're everywhere. And if you guys have an idea or a guest idea for this show, please send me an email at thebeardspeakspodcast@gmail.com. That's right. And go check us out at www.thebeardspeakspodcast.com, because all our social media links are there. Whew, I think I've done enough talking today. So, all right, guys, God bless. Remember, stay positive, and we'll see you guys next time.